how are we doing? We are 1 week down, so we're into a new week this week in terms of the training prep. Around about 19 weeks until we get on stage, so again, plenty of time, but now there's just a couple of little changes that are happening. So we got a slightly different program format today. We're actually going to throw in a little strength assessment, so do a pull-up 1 rep max, and then we've got a couple of different exercises. You'll see that we're actually going to run a more back focused day. We're going to take arms out of today, and we're actually going to throw arms in a little bit later on today, if not maybe in the PM session for the lower body. So instead of kind of doing more back biceps that we did last week, it's primarily going to be focused towards back and traps today within the lift. So slightly different tweak. So I'm just playing around with different session formats, a couple of different exercises that I want to put in there that I haven't really got around to in some of the other sessions. And like we always do on these little intro videos, what I've been discussing most recently online with a certain few people is training frequency. Now, this training split is a push-pull legs and then upper lower, so it's kind of a bit more of a 5-day hybrid split. Although we are about to change it up and go back to just the PPL. So doing 3 days on, 1 day off. Again, it's a format that I've been running for quite a long time in terms of my own personal training. Have I been doing it as effectively as possible? Probably not, because I haven't really been using it in terms of preparing for a competition. So we are looking at being a bit more optimized within the split. And the thing that I'm seeing online is that frequency. We want to get higher frequency of exposure for muscle growth, and that means people are justifying that full body every other day is the best way to program your exercises, or potentially the upper lower split rather than a push-pull leg split or a pull-push leg split in my case. And the thing is, while these people are claiming that this is important, obviously mechanistically, they will cite effective sets, and the first few sets are normally the ones that are the most stimulating for muscle growth. The thing is, we try to then justify it that, okay, we can just do 1 set exposure every other day and get growth. Yeah, minimal effective dose. I would completely agree there with you. But the thing is, we're not actually considering the research that's out there in terms of training frequency. And what we actually see is that there doesn't seem to be much real effect beyond kind of more than one session per week. So if we hit something 2 times per week, 3 times per week, 4 times per week, 5 times per week, the variance is so large in terms of the specific responses to individuals in those programs that, yeah, you may get hypertrophy, but we can't say for certain that, hey, doing full body every other day is more hypertrophic than doing upper lower split or doing a push-pull leg split, and even doing a bro split, which that is going to be the most controversial thing that people will probably be like, what? That doesn't make any sense. But if you think about it, even a bro split gets you 1 times per week exposure, and we've seen that with that frequency you can still get hypertrophy. Again, think minimal effective dose. So what we're really interested in is maximal effective dose, right? Which then, full body every other day, if I'm only running 1 set per exercise, I'm not sure that is the maximal effective dose. If I do 2 sets per exercise, 3 sets per exercise, then all of a sudden my program is less than 2-3 hours in the gym. I might as well have just done push-pull legs. Does that make sense? Hope so. Anyway, what I want to make clear is that we actually don't really see much of an effect of differences in terms of increasing frequency. Now, I'm not going to say that it's not important, and some people have challenged this, and I've got some good theories and mechanisms as to why a full body every other day split may be better than other splits. But my thing is the session format, what goes into that split. Because I could do a full body every other day and it'd be a back squat, deadlift, bench press, military press, and so on and so forth. You get what I'm saying, right? Whereas I could do a full body every other day where it's leg extension, a leg curl, a pec deck, and a pull down. Now, I'd probably say that one of those 2 sessions might get you a little bit more hypertrophy But at the same time, both of those sessions probably will be comparable for quite a long time, especially in newer lifters. So the thing is, I don't think that we really know, right? And when we start to make statements that, hey, something is optimal, we best have a lot of evidence to back it up. And so far from my research career, I've not seen any study that has unanimously decided that full body every other day is the best split and the most optimal split for muscle growth. So with that in mind, I'm going to be keeping on running my push-pull leg split. Now, maybe at a certain point in the future, I'll try a different split and see where we can go. But honestly, it works best with my schedule. I don't like the off day every other day. I just kind of feel like I could potentially do more. And then the other side of it is I could also think about utilizing my own body's response. So rather than being tied to any specific split, I actually will feel like, okay, if I am sore, like we did last week, we change the session format if we still want to get it in, or we can hit that extra off day and then maybe reduce set volume or even increase or decrease the frequency of the exposures. So again, do what split works for you. There is no right answer here. There is a wrong answer, and that's not doing anything at all. So as long as you're training, you're more than likely going to get muscle growth. So consistency over time. When you start to plateau, vary it up, do something new. So we're almost at the gym, so we will see you in there for our little back day session.
Right, we made it to the gym. So I'm going to start with a quick little warm-up in terms of some hangs, as we're going to do a 1 RM pull-up to start our session today. Get a little weighted belt out. So, whenever we're doing a 1 rep max test, we only really need a couple of reps per warm-up set. So, typically I'll just do 1 rep of 45, then add a plate, 1 rep, add a plate, go from there. And then as we get closer to our 100%, we just obviously give ourselves enough rest to make sure there's no central nervous system fatigue. So we're going to see what we can get today. Oh. All right, 45. Next add, be at 25. Now, you can go up in quarters. You could, if you feel strong, just go up in 245s. Completely up to you. All right. $45 and a 25. Whew. All right, so probably go up 45 on the next add. So take the 25 off, go 245s. Flip this way. Again, the goal was to keep energy in the tank for when we get to that top end. Now, historically, my 1 repetition max has been 100 pounds. So we're at the 90% mark now from history, but I haven't tested this in a little while. So we'll see how it goes. The other thing, as we get ready for this set, is don't confuse this with me saying that single reps are effective for stimulating growth. Obviously, we are in a hypertrophy block in terms of our goals, and competition, but I just want to kind of see where strength is. I like to use pull-ups as kind of that more back strength assessment rather than the pull down, because I always feel like pull downs are a little bit limited in terms of your body weight getting into that starting position, so you need generally someone to assist you, whereas at least with pull-ups you start in that bottom position, so it's you against gravity. So if you can overcome gravity, it means you're producing enough force to do so. So this has historically been 1 rep max. Oh, sorry, 90% of 1 rep max. So let's see how it goes. Oh, all right, that felt pretty good. Pretty good. So again, we'll take about another minute 30 rest. Can go a little bit higher if we want in terms of the rest. Now we are using the big, bulky plates, which kind of gets annoying with the belt, but we'll just cope with it. Find a little 10-pound nugget to add on. So this will be previous max coming up. So we'll just sit on the weights for a second, get a recovery in. And so that's where I think people get the warm-up for 1 repetition maxes wrong, because we'll kind of do like a 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1. And then they kind of waste a lot of energy and a lot of stuff on the reps beforehand. So you don't really need to do that. Just hit a single, move on to the next load, hit another single, move on to the next load, hit another single. Those singles should be more than enough to stimulate a little bit of neural activation. And if you do want to maybe get a couple of reps in, you can always do that as well if you think that's going to be more beneficial for you and your motor unit recruitment. But typically, I like to just keep it as singles. All right, previous 1 repetition max. Whew. All right, that felt pretty good. Again, wish I didn't have these bulky ass plates. I'm going to see if I can snag some smaller ones. All right. So we found some thinner 45s, which is going to make it a little easier. And we're actually going to go for lifetime PR right now. So I took the 10 plate off, added a 25, so 15-pound jump. Probably the top end of a jump that I would probably make at this point, but I was feeling confident in how fast that rep went up. So we're going to see how this one goes. Count it? I think we'll count it. I'm not sure I've got much more after this ad, but we'll see. So that was actually a little lifetime PR right there. Have not hit that, I don't think. At least definitely not within the last training year. So go me. So I think one more ad, a little bit of some trunk flexion and some knee kipping there, but chin went above the bar. We'll watch back the footage, but I'm pretty sure I was looking at the top of the rack, so chin went above the bar, so it still counts. Now the question is, do I try and add 10 or do I add 5? 10 plates right in front of me, so I'm thinking 10. And the reason why I'm doing this as well is Jared Feather posted something on, I think it was TikTok, about the pull-up and whether it's S-tier exercise, things like that. And my comment was that having a really good pull-up unlocks all the doors to every other back exercise, but not every other back exercise unlocks the doors to a good pull-up. So when that's generally the case in like exercises like this, typically it means that it's probably the superior exercise to do, because then it'll have a trickle-down effect on the other exercises when you do bring in more stability or a piece of equipment and things like a machine. So in terms of for the back, I still think that pull-up is the ultimate one. You don't see many people with a small back who have an insane amount of ability to do repetitions of pull-ups and heavier pull-ups as well. Especially because you're starting in that bottom position. That resistance curve is fairly challenging with this type of exercise. Whereas a pull down, we're obviously starting where we have to pull down into the range of motion. So it's the flipped resistance profile in a sense. You're getting assisted with gravity on the pull down, and then you're against gravity on the way back. Whereas this, you're against gravity on the way up and assisted on the way back. All right, psych ourselves up for this one. I think it's gonna be okay, honestly. And could we use a 35-pound plate instead? Probably, but I have my 10-pound plate here, so might as well use, what is that? And not waste energy. Nope. Doesn't count. We got halfway though, so shrimps there. We'll be able to do that at a later date. Oh. All right, so we know top end range where we can't do it is the 90 plus 25 plus 10. So doing that math in my head real quick, 125. And then in terms of what we can do, 115. So between 115 and 125 would be kind of our effective one repetition max on any given day-to-day basis, we would think, because we were almost there. Probably could have cheated the rep if I wanted to. All right, now we're gonna go into an exercise that has kind of been blowing up the internet. So we got a machine single arm pullover, and we're going to do it in the scapular plane. And the thing is that I like about this machine, it comes with its own installed seat belt, which is nice. So we're basically going to be a little bit more side on than your traditional sagittal pullover, and we're not going to be all the way side on, so it's frontal plane adduction. But I think the internet has been taken by stir in terms of this Keenan flap, but the thing is, there are different ways to do it, and my opinion is the scapular plane is the plane that you want to be performing this exercise in. So feel too bad. Not bad at all. We can make an ad and go up on that one, and then we'll talk about it a little bit more. Do it like this instead of a straight arm pull down, a two arm pull down, or kind of more of the cable adduction that you see in the frontal plane that people rave on about online. Again, for me, I think we need that combination of abduction, so the arm coming in towards the body, which obviously the lats are responsible for, and then also shoulder extension. So if we're in the scapular plane and we pull down into that motion, I think that that is potentially the best leverage position for both of those two to occur. And then you'll see in the session, if we then put in a more vertical sagittal plane pull down, like a mag grip or something like that, where you're kind of slightly more neutral grip, then you're getting this sagittal plane extension covered. And then if you throw in something that's more in the frontal plane, like the Keenan flap traditional pull down, which is also just called a cable adduction, then you're probably targeting all different length tension relationships of the three sections of the lats, or the lats as a whole. And so this is where I think this pull down exercise in the pullover kind of gives you a lot more stability in that sagittal plane movement versus kind of a cable stack where you need like a bench, you need to hold on to things, you got to get a curve. It's a way easier setup. It's pretty efficient, so if you have access to the machine, use it. If not, do the cable variations that you see online. All right, so more than enough rest for single-sided training. Lost count of volume there. It was either 9 or 10. Not really that sure. Because single side, we only hit 2 sets of that. And then I think we've got pull downs next. I have to double check the program. So I actually lied, we don't have pull down just yet. We do have a high-low row variation instead. So utilize the D handle on this. Gets a little awkward, but it is what it is. All right, 2 sets here. We're gonna do another ad, and then we'll go from there. We added another plate because it did hit 10 reps. Honestly, in the prescription, it was supposed to be around 6 to 8 today. So because of that, more aggressive ad, try and get roughly 6 reps out if I can. And then this covers off essentially kind of more of our sagittal plane pull. I think I do still have potentially pull down in today's session, or T-bar rows. So kind of more low row position. I have to double check the program. Should have probably done that in between the setup though. That was tasty. That was tasty. I'm gonna hit one more rep on that left side because that last one was a little partial, and I think the left side needs to be brought up a little bit, so get a little extra in here. All right, I'll check the program, but I'm pretty sure up next is T-bar row. So it was T-bar row. When you have a suspicion about your own program, you're probably right. So we're gonna do our usual T-bar row, calcio shrug combo here. Just 2 sets, as always. So you probably noticed it wasn't too strict on form there. Letting the chest come off the pad. We've talked about it before. I'm not too worried about it. Especially as I've only got 2 sets today. One set here. And then I'm gonna blast the back some more. All right, that's good on that. Whew. Next exercise. So every now and then, throw a little shrug variation in. So we have a nice little trap, lunge, RDL, shrug machine here. So we get some in. Just hit one set of these, and then we got a couple more back accessories, some stuff for lower back today as well that we haven't had in the program yet. So I told you we like some exercise variations, especially in our accessory work. Accessory block, little rear delt fly. Alright, just one little set there. A little single arm across the body as well. Move this way. All right, last little bit of accessory block. So we haven't shown this exercise before in our program, and so we're going to do some glute ham raise, back extension work, and have it barbell loaded. So we're kind of staying in the top end range of motion. We're not going into that deeper stretch and getting more hamstring stretch. And so we're actually getting the erectors to kind of more act concentrically with a little bit of length. Now, what we could do to make it a little more tastier is we could bring that bar up into our chest, kind of hold a isometric row. So I haven't done that for a little while, so I'm not sure if I've got 135, but we'll give it a go in the next set. A little quick bit of hydration. And we'll hit this last set. So we got one last exercise. We're going to stick in the glute ham raise, clear this barbell up, and then we have sit-ups. Last exercise, some loaded sit-ups in the glute ham raise machine. A little rest always like to pair the extension with sit-up, because in that way you can stretch the erectors after having them flexed and contracted. Oh. So we got one last set. Catch my breath here. And what we typically say, the last set. Alright, that's session done. We'll wrap it up in the car. And just like that, back day is done. So, a little switch up from last week's session. Again, all of the key themes that were still there. It's just slight different exercise order, slight different exposure. Again, we decided to do a little strength check in terms of our 1RM pull-up. So that was kind of another thing that we threw in there, just to kind of see where we're at, especially as we're kind of 19 weeks, we've got another 19 weeks to go. So probably do at least one more little strength check-in. And I always think it's good because then at least we get a few little effective reps in with the pull-ups. So that was kind of our main diagnostic for if our back's getting stronger, which definitely PR'd in the last 12 months with what we did today. But quite honestly, it might be a lifetime PR. I'd have to look back at some old training books and stuff like that. But again, the other parts of the session, we're just getting different lengths for our lats with various different pull downs. We hit the pull up with a vertical pull, the Keenan flap, I don't know if we're really calling it that, but the pull over more in the scapular plane. I'm just going to call it scapular pull over. Maybe that can be the CT pull over, maybe we'll name it that. And then we hit some high-low rows, some rear delts, some shrugs. So the only thing that we didn't really have in today is a single arm horizontal row. We got the horizontal row in with T-bar, with some extra kelsos as well, but we didn't get kind of that single arm horizontal row. Normally, again, I get that in at the back end of the week, and we didn't have a pull down in terms of vertical pull down because we hit pull-ups today. So that was kind of the rationale of changing up that session and the reason why. But we'll wrap it up there. Rambled a little bit on that one, so hope you enjoyed the session. If you did, make sure you're dropping a like on the video and make sure you're subscribing. If you saw this video, why have you not subscribed? You're at the end, you're getting free workouts every single day that I post, and this is my prep journey. So if you're on your prep journey, you can use everything that I'm doing in my workouts and you can see the journey and see if it works. So by the time that we get to week 0, we'll see if growth has happened, we'll see if I'm in good shape, which we're probably going to be, hopefully. So I'll catch you in tomorrow's video where we've got our push day, a little bit of a switch up on that session as well compared to last week. So keep tuning in, make sure you're subscribing, and make sure you comment if you do have any questions about this training process, and we'll see you